Today, I'm going to tell you about a very scary and dirty anime. And yeah guys, I know, my English is so bad, but I hope you understand me. Well, subscribe to my channel and enjoy watching this video. Let's go. Story begins by showing a girl named Miko Yotsuya. She has just waked up. She sees a dog breaking at the trash outside, through the windows, but she doesn't think it's unusual in the bedroom. When she's brushing her teeth, she sees a hand mark on the mirror and she cleans it. After that, she leaves for school. At school, she meets her friend, called Hana Yurikawa. In the middle of their conversation, a girl appears and asks them to move for being in the way. The girl seems to say something, but she restrains herself and leaves during the lesson. Miko looks at the field and sees a ball rolling. She doesn't take it seriously and continues the lesson. At a lunch break, Miko goes to the restroom. She feels there is something in the toilet, but she ignores it shortly. Miko returns home with Hana. Because their paths are different, they separate at the crossroads. Miko then realizes that her keychain isn't at her bag. She goes back to the school to take it back. Arriving at her class, she turns on the lamp. Feeling something weird, she turns it off and turns it back on, but she doesn't find anything. Then Miko finds her keychain under the table and she immediately picks it up. Suddenly, she feels that there is something passes her by quickly behind her. She checks it, but again she doesn't find anything. Finally, she comes home, but suddenly it starts raining heavily. She takes shelter at the bus stop because she doesn't bring an umbrella. A moment later, Miko receives a message from Hana asking her condition. She takes a selfie and sends it to Hana, telling her that she is at the bus stop due to the rain, but Hana resends Miko's picture. Mako feels something weird. Suddenly, a voice sensor in her cell phone detects a sound of instruction, even though he doesn't send a voice. Not at the same time, Hana spams her with her pictures. Suddenly, her photos turn spooky. She is shocked and throws her cell phone. After she checks her phone, she doesn't find anything. She thinks it might be only her hallucination. Because she is tired, suddenly a creepy figure appears in front of her, but she pretends not seeing it and is going even though she looks calm outside, but deep inside she is frightened. Finally, she arrives at home. She cleans up before going to bed. As usual, there is a handprint on the mirror, but she thinks it's her sister doing. But suddenly she sees a ghost on the mirror. She tries to calm down, but washing her face, she lifts her head and looks the mirror, hoping to find the ghost. It's gone, but it is still there. Miko ignores it and goes to the kitchen. Looking for salt, she pours the salt in a bowl and keeps it in her room. Hoping the ghost to leave, Miko is asleep, but she feels something underneath her blanket. When she opens her blanket, she finds the ghost is hiding there. The next morning, she doesn't find the ghost anywhere, and she feels revealed because it is over. But she is wrong. She even sees the ghost at the school. It seems that only Miko who can see the ghost. Miko tries to remain calm, and finally, the ghost leaves her. In the changing room, Hana is afraid to open her locker because she heard a scary story, and she asks Miko to help her. Miko opens the locker, and there is nothing inside. It turns out the ghost is above. Miko turns her back so that she doesn't see it. Hana asks her help again, because you can reach out her phone, while scared Miko takes the phone. After picking up the phone, Miko feels weak and unsteady in the classroom. Hana is going to pick up the book under the table, but there is a ghost there, and it begins to tease her hand. To Hana's body doesn't want anything to happen. Miko pretends unsteady and pushes the table, but the ghost becomes Walder Miko. Immediately asks Hana to the infirmary. Miko runs away from the ghost, but when she turns her back, she finds the ghost has already attached to Hana. Finally, they arrive at the infirmary. Miko thinks hard how to get rid of the ghost. She tries to spray Hana with the disinfectant, and the ghost reacts to the disinfectant. Mako thinks she succeeded, but a new one pops out. Hana comes closer to check her. She is frightened because the ghost is getting closer and trying to touch her. Suddenly, the caretaker arrives, and the ghost immediately patches on her body. Finally, the ghost doesn't follow her anymore. After school, Miko and Hana want to buy a snack. The ghost while Miko is waiting in line while checking her phone. Suddenly, Hana calls her because she isn't standing in line. Miko is surprised to see there are two lines. When she looks in front of her, it turns out she's standing in line with the ghost. Hana immediately accidentally grabs her because she looks puzzled. Miko thanks her because she doesn't get eaten by the ghost. After buying the snacks, Miko and Hana stay an abandoned kitten, but Miko sees the ghost that is guarding the kitten. They upload its picture in the social media to look for the adapter. Suddenly a fact comes and keeps looking at Hana that makes her afraid. A moment later, a young man comes and says that she wants to adopt the cat, but Miko prevents him because she sees evil spirit around him. After receiving the cat, the man leaves them. Miko advises Hana not to judge anyone but his appearance. The next morning, Miko goes to find praying beads to ward off the ghost. Miko takes a bus. She looks around her and she doesn't find any ghosts around her. Miko plays her phone and suddenly there is a new messenger. Sitting in front of her, the passenger transforms and approaches her. She tries to remain calm so that ghost doesn't realize it. Finally, the bus arrives at her destination. Miko wants to push the button, but the ghost blocks it. She ignores it and pushes it. But when the bus stops, Miko doesn't get off because the ghost has already got out of the bus and she passes her destination. After a rise at the place, Miko stops by at a cafe to wait for Hana. She looks at the man who is being patched by a female ghost, but the man misunderstands her. She thinks she is giving her attention at him. The ghost is angry and comes to Miko because it thinks she is going to steal him. Miko is scared and she plays a video of muscle man. She pretends liking a man with big muscles. In his mustache, finally the ghost disappears cause the man Yorli isn't Miko's ideal type. Later, Hana arrives and they walk out of the cafe. Finally, Miko buys the praying beads. She buys 4 praying beads and gives 2 of them to Hana because Hana is always followed by ghosts. Hana invites Miko to buy snakes and walk through the narrow alley, but there are many ghosts in the alley. When she walks in the ghost step, says she thinks the praying beads are quite effective to guard off ghosts, but there is one big ghost which is not affected. But those beads suddenly, the beads are destroyed because they can't fight the ghost because Hana keeps calling her. Miko tries to pass the ghost because they are from different realms. Miko can walk through the ghost. Miko asks Hana to get out of the path. Immediately after buying the snacks, Miko and Hana go to a shaman to buy the praying beads again. The shaman thinks Miko is only a kid who is following the trend and she selects the praying beads randomly. However, when Miko puts the praying beads on it, suddenly gets destroyed. The shaman is shocked to see that. Then she sees a dark figure standing behind Miko. It turns out the big ghost has followed her. All the way, the shaman also sees quite big life energy. That's why even she has been always liked by the ghost, she isn't affected then. The shaman picks up her sealed powerful praying beads, even though she often tricks people. She was the most powerful shaman back then and was called by the godmother. In her glorious days, she kept her power in the praying beads and she will hand it to Miko. However, when she put it on, it gets destroyed again. And finally, they come home. Empty-headed Miko says she doesn't need the praying beads anymore because the ghost has come back to the alley and stops following her. At night, Miko watches a horror series with her brother. She goes out to buy some drinks and when she tries to insert the coin, she accidentally drops her coin. When she tries to pick it up, she sees a small ghost. The ghost looks at her and runs away. She finds it cute and she pretends rolling her coin and picking it up, but she also sees a big ghost. Doesn't want to be caught. Miko tries to pick up her coin, but because she is terrified, she can't take it. Suddenly the crow comes and takes the coin. Miko is finally safe because she can go away from the place by pretending chasing the crow. The next morning, she wakes up and looks outside and she sees a ghost at the trash. Miko starts to have breakfast, but she sees a ghost behind her father. She tries to remain calm and is ready to go to school. Since the beginning, she seems doesn't get close to her father because she never looks at his eyes. Before leaving, she takes her pudding and goes to her father's room. It turns out her father has passed away and the one that lives with them is his spirit. Only Miko can see it, but she pretends not to because they are now in different worlds. Miko always holds back her tears whenever she sees her father's spirit. After that, she bids goodbye and goes to school. The scene switches and shows a girl named Nigitiro Yulia. She is the girl at Miko's school. Same with Miko. Yulia also has ability to see ghosts, but kind of blurry one day. Julia goes to the godmother's story, but it is closed. She thinks it's all because of Miko and Hana, because they are her last clans. Julia watches them and is surprised because she thinks that Miko can see the ghost. On physical education, Julia invites her to talk. They go to the storage room and Julia shuts the door. Julia says that Miko is one of them who have ability to see ghosts. Miko pretends doesn't understand, but Julia won't be deceived by her. Like Julia then points at a small ghost and says that Miko can see it too. Miko pretends not seeing that, but Julia insists that Miko can do it. Miko wonders and is scared because Julia seems can see the big ghost behind her. Julia shows her praying beads, but it is broken. Julia is scared because she thinks Miko has broken it, doesn't have any other options. Miko strangles Julia like a wrestler to knock her out. Shortly, Julia is awakened in the infirmary. She is scared seeing Miko. Miko warns her to be more careful if she wants to survive and pretends not seeing them, but she misunderstands and thinks Miko is threatening her since that day Julia holds grudges to her. On her way home, she sees a figure sitting on the crossing stairs. She pretends not seeing it, but it grabs her hand. It turns out it is just an old woman. Miko takes the old woman to her home. The woman thanks her for taking the old woman home. Suddenly she sees a ghost standing behind her. She tries to run away by saying she will go home, but she is restrained by the old woman who is interested with her phone. The ghost whispers some numbers to her. It keeps walking and whispers a series of numbers to the old woman. Miko taps the number on her phone and shows it to the old woman. The old woman seems to remember something and goes inside her house. She tries to open the safe box that amazingly can be opened after all this time can be opened. It turns out the ghost is the late old woman's husband. He keeps mentioning it. Passcode of the safe box, which is filled with their memories. The ghost thanks her for helping him out and leaves them. Miko feels touched with it because they still love each other even though they have been in different worlds. The next day, Miko and Hana want to buy snacks. After school, Miko invites Hana to take other path because she sees a ghost that looks dangerous. The next morning, Hana and Miko agree to meet. Hana keeps feeling strange such. At the clock, the suddenly stops working. The lamp that blinks all the time. At the dog that barks at her. It turns out there is a ghost that had been seen by Miko behind her. Upon us sees a little boy who is crying because his dog enters the cursed old building. Hana helps him to find the dog and enters the building. She keeps walking without, realizing that she's been followed. Hana is looking for the dog happily, so that the dog will not get scared. Suddenly she hears a voice from behind the tarpaulin. She feels scared, but she dares herself to open it. Finally, she finds the dog and gives it to the child and takes him home. After taking him home, she meets Miko. At the agreed place, Miko is shocked to see Hana is followed by the previous ghost. Hana tells her she has just rescued a dog in the cursed building. Shortly, Miko and Hana go to a secluded temple. Miko attempts to offer up prayers so that she is kept away from all ghosts. She prays she and Hana are kept away from curses. Miko says she will do anything for that. Suddenly, she sees two other ghosts behind her, but they have different aura. Those two ghosts are fighting the ghosts that follow her. She instantly watches them. She thinks the two ghosts are the god servants, but the black ghost overpowers and destroys them. But suddenly, a big golden ghost appears and destroys the black ghost. After that, the gold ghost approaches Miko. The golden ghosts are talking in the language. The big ghost casts a word threat to Miko and disappears. Miko doesn't understand what it means, but she feels revealed because the ghost has disappeared. Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please subscribe to my channel. Well, you have been with